PTSD is absolutely a thing. It's not real fun to go around and be like, hey, I've got eczema on my ass crack. I got a weepy eye. I got PTSD in a weak back. Like, I will tell you about my eczema asshole. I will tell you about my bad back. I'll tell you about my leaky eye, but I will not tell you that fucking a loud noise will make me physically swing at something.
Hello, and welcome to the Front Seat Debrief. This podcast is intended to confront the unique mental health challenges that our veterans, first responders, and healthcare professionals face on a daily basis. My name is Josh Campbell. I am a social worker who provides therapy in a private practice, and my efforts are focused on these populations. I am a former Army combat medic and a former paramedic firefighter. When my struggles with PTSD became too great for me to continue working as a paramedic, I went back to school earning my BA in English from American Military University. Then I earned my master's in social work at the University of Michigan. This podcast has grown from my own experience coping with repeated exposures to traumatic incidents, my personal path to healing and understanding, as well as my educational background. I want to examine the lived experience of others in coping with trauma, their journey to find healing, and I believe that learning about someone's upbringing can often provide additional context through which greater understanding of their experiences with trauma can be achieved. It is my sincere hope that the content covered in this episode, as well as the episodes that follow, will provide listeners with a sense of not being alone in their struggles. Furthermore, I hope that by having these deeply personal discussions, we can continue to decrease the stigma surrounding mental health, normalize adverse emotional reactions to extreme circumstances, and build momentum for creating a positive culture shift within these professions. Thank you so much for choosing to listen. If you like what you hear, please like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with our progress here. This is the first episode, and my guest today is Mr. Zane Cozby. We go way back. We met in Army medic training. Zane, I'll give it to you, man. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Zane Cozby, and as Josh stated, we met a long time ago. I've been a nurse for 30 years. I was an EMT for 10 of those at the same time in the Army for 6, and did a combat tour over in Iraq. Was a NCO for the Warrior Transition Unit down in Colorado Springs when that first kicked off. So that was pretty interesting too.
So, long history in public service, military, healthcare. Why don't you tell us about your background, your upbringing?
All right. I am the 5th child of my parents, and there was 8 of us. So if that tells you anything, we're not Mormon or Catholic. We're Baptist. So if you see me having sex standing up, don't tell anyone I was dancing. Yeah.
Excellent.
Usually I'm dancing by myself if I'm standing up, but it's all right.
You grew up in Anaconda, right?
Anaconda, the great A-town, man. It's making a comeback. I love it. Went through some rough times, that town.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the area and what your experience was there.
So growing up over there, it's a old smelting town. The Anaconda company had it for years and sold it to Arco. And in the early 80s, they shut it down. Shut it down, like killed the town, shut it down. And people bailed, and those that stuck in there, I mean, you had to be leathery to hang out and try to raise a family on. I mean, well, like dad and mom, it was pastor wages for whatever that was and driving a school bus. And we were well off, so it was pretty wild times, man.
So when you're growing up, big family, you said you guys were well off.
Well,
What kind of
well off, well off, meaning that we weren't naked and we weren't starving to death. But
That's good enough, right?
yeah, I mean, if we had a seatbelt in the vehicle, we all had to use it at the same time.
What kind of stuff did you guys do for fun out there?
Uh, the usual stuff you do when you're dirt poor growing up in a mountain town. You played outside, went fishing, hunting, hiking, uh, basketball, baseball, football. Everything was sports or outdoor related. Uh, very, you, not a lot of kids hung out indoors back then. I mean, again, we didn't have phones, we didn't have the games and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and when your friends did get the games, you'd go play for a while, get bored out of your mind about if you have ADHD, you did, and you'd be like, all right, fuck this, let's go.
What about your education? What's your educational background?
Poor. I mean, I struggle with the alphabet and left and right, man. I grew up in Anaconda. We're all tall and have strong bones, but our brains ain't the best.
Oh, good
Um,
grief.
I did grade grade to school through high school in Anaconda, then went over to Montana Tech. Spent a year over there, just literally wasting their money, but I had a lot of fun. Thank you guys very much. Uh, Played football for them, then had to get my head pulled out of my ass with a year of manual labor. Decided I am way too pretty and soft to do that. Went back to nursing school, cranked through that, and that was that, man.
So what time frame was it that you then became a nurse?
I graduated nursing school in '98,
Okay.
so 28 years ago.
All right.
And 2 years
Um,
before that, I started wiping ass for money, and that's when I figured out I should have been a hooker, not a nurse's aide. Would have made way more money.
that's probably true. Yeah.
It's absolutely true.
All right. So you got into nursing in '98.
I did,
What kind of nursing were you doing?
mainly with the nipples.
Excellent.
Just one slip. Uh, I mean, like, I'm still an LPN. I got my certificate. They gave me a license, and off I went. Started in long term, and I did that for I guess a year, and then got hired on at the rural hospital here, which is great because it was emergency room, it was the floor, it was the OR, there's a long term care actually attached to the hospital at the time, so you're still doing some long term stuff and
That's the
seeing
one right
everybody
there.
from. Say again.
That's the one right there, Deer Lodge.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And watching just being at that hospital for so long, it's amazing watching the growth that's happened there. Go from that old building built in '69. Now we're doing a third expansion on a hospital that was built from the ground up. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Little old town.
When did they build the hospital?
In 2012, then we expanded in 15, 18, and 22, and then
Dang.
now, yeah.
So that thing wasn't even around when I stopped through to see you last
No,
time.
nope. We were still up on the hill when you were here. That's right.
Okay.
That was a long time ago, Sue.
It was a long time ago. Need to fix that.
You know, we'll meet in the middle, go to North Dakota so we can both be like, ugh, I'll just go to you next time.
Hey, Teddy Roosevelt Park's on my list.
I've been there. It's actually kind of cool. It's fair. That was fair.
So at what point did you make that transition into like the EMS world?
It wasn't long. Just because, again, you're working in that small facility and you get your hands on in the emergency room, and you're dealing with all the EMTs and whatnot. So they're like, "Come learn how to do this." So I did it. And went through that training, and which was nice because when I joined the army, as you know, I was supposed to be literally months graduating behind you, and I was there for 6 weeks and left with you guys. So it was
Yeah.
pretty sweet.
And I mean, it worked out in our favor, I think, because here we are 23 years later.
23 years later, and I can't believe, man, how glorious your hair still is. Just shaved head
I'm
and Copenhagen lip to that freaking glorious mound.
trying to grow it back out, so we'll see what happens.
And you don't leave it like right there. It makes you look like a professor.
I've heard worse. I'll take
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So, how long were you in EMT then before you joined the Army?
Oh, had to have been like 2 years, I guess.
Okay.
Year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
So you had a lot of decent experience, both like as a nurse and as an EMT before you came into the Army.
Yeah, well, I got my nursing degree in '98 and then I joined the Army in '03, so 5 years.
Yeah. And I remember that was like, it was so nice, like partnering up with you for like IV training and stuff because, after getting mangled by a couple of classmates, it was nice to have someone that knew their ass from a hole in the ground.
It was, "Josh, just push it right there. Okay, you're not hurting me, push forward. You're hurting me. Okay, you're done."
Dude, and I think I did pretty well with IVs for the rest of my career.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of shortcomings for the military, but the training's way better than people give it credit for, I think, in all aspects. I
Oh yeah.
mean, makes people learn how
Well,
to watch their ass that didn't know how to do that going in.
yeah, I remember stories about that in our death by PowerPoint sessions. Like
Uh,
some of those instructors, like,
First, turn the water on, enter water,
oh,
step out of water, grab bar of soap, wet soap.
didn't we
Yeah,
have a guy that ended up getting thrown into the showers and rushed with like brooms because he was
you had safety kit.
protesting?
Protesting what? You volunteered to go there.
That guy ended up getting arrested, I think. So there's a lot more going on there. There's a lot more going on there.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember like there's like a big problem with like oxy in the barracks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, he's one of those guys
I think he had something to do with it.
bringing it in,
Yeah.
or
I don't even remember. I think so. I think he might have had the prescription for it. That was back when people were still giving oxy for everything.
yeah. You got a bad tooth? Here's 500 oxys. Take one every 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they peeled that back and it's just Motrin for us, right?
Yeah, Motrin. You ain't that sick. H
So what
deuce O.
what was it about public service that drew you to it?
I don't know, man. Like, oh, I guess probably back then there was the adrenaline kick part. I mean, you don't realize when you first start to become an EMT that 90% of what you're doing is going to be absolute garbage, baloney, transports and transfers and etc. But that 10%, man, that could get your heart rocking and rolling for a while. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that had a lot to do with it back then. I don't know.
Did the army thing kind of stem from that same place?
I don't know. That had probably more to do with like sense of duty that I didn't know that was there. And at the same time, my younger sister and brother were freaking both ROTC kids, and I was like, well, they're gonna do that. I'll just get in now. I'm lazier than them. I wasn't gonna go get a degree to get in. They'd just take me for free.
How much of an impact did 9/11 have on your decision to go
Oh,
in?
oh, that was significant, man. I was married 10 days before that happened.
Oh wow.
September 1st is our anniversary.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it had some to do with it for sure.
Kind of reinforce the sense of duty.
Yeah.
There's
And
something going on that felt you could jump in on.
yeah, and I mean, come on, I was at the time I was 25 years old. I was like, fuck, I've hit all the goals I want to hit. Little did I know living was just beginning at that age, not. And so that's why I joined up. And there was also like the I used to say I was bartending at the same time too. I worked a lot. I still kind of do, but um, I was when I was bartending, I was like, it pisses me off. And this is even back before the giving student loans away for free. I'm like, if you're going to use federal money, you should have to give back federal time in some way. It could be the postal service, it could be the Peace Corps, it could be the military, it could be there's a lot of government agencies that are struggling that could use young, intelligent people that if you're going to get a degree in something, you have to give it 2 years back for federal funding of it. Then we'll talk about forgiveness. Um, and so then I was like, well, now I'm just a hypocrite because I fucking use student loans to get my nursing degree. So I was like, fuck. And I went. The worst part about being a man of your word is sometimes your word gets your fucking ass in trouble.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um yeah, that's absolutely fact. Um how did you like the work you were doing?
Back then,
Yeah.
oh, I liked it a lot, man. I was pretty much running the surgical department because it was just waiting to hire a nurse with the proper credentials to do it. But I mean, I was running and I was scheduling it, setting surgeries up, setting recovery schedules. It was big fun. And then going in and working the cases on top of it. But big fun. Sometimes you got to have a big change in your life. And it worked out for both of us because the spouse will even say, had we not gotten out of here at that time, it probably wouldn't have ended well for us.
Mhm.
Just we needed to get away from our families, our friends, and kind of just realize it was us for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz I mean at the point that I met you, you had the 3 kids, yeah?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean if you got married in 2001, so you'd been married for 4 years when we were hanging out, right?
Yep. When it all came together.
You and I both know there's a ton of stuff in EMS, healthcare, military, that a lot of people don't consider. Um, what what elements of like extra drama, like the unneeded crap, did you face in those positions?
you you do know nursing's like 90% female, right? And no offense, ladies, you all know I ain't lying. That's it's there's that. I had a huge in though. Honestly, I had 5 sisters growing up, and there's gonna be that drama in any career, isn't there? I mean, unless you literally work by yourself building knives all the time, you're gonna have some sort of drama. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not gonna be something you can get away from if you work with other people. No matter how much you like them, there's always gonna be something there.
Oh yeah.
Shit. Think about work in general, man. 40 hours a week we spend with them, and then if you're sleeping on a 7 to 8 hour night schedule, that gives you 8 to 9 hours to spend with your family. And at some point, you're like, "I need some alone time." I mean, or so
Yeah.
we truly spend more time with fucking coworkers than our spouses usually. So,
Oh yeah. For sure.
what type of drama do you want? I mean, I've had coworkers have affairs with each other. We've had drugs. We've had alcohol, suicide, everything on every aspect has happened in my career.
Yeah.
And very, very rarely has a good outcome come after something like that happens. We'll
Right.
get new policies and new regulations, but it doesn't fucking solve the underlying issues.
Yeah. People are always going to be people, right?
Yeah. And in the current state of healthcare, we're all going to be overworked and overstressed.
Yeah. As far as like the overworked piece, like from what I've seen, that has not improved in my almost 20 years like in that space.
Well, and I
Like,
think a patient or a true personal responsibility is a thing of the past, man. Like they will do everything to go above and beyond to make sure that you're taken care of. Like I don't know a nurse or a doctor or that didn't go into the healthcare field because they legitimately care or have compassion for people. It might not always come across like that, but they have it. The overwork part though, like you come into work and there's 400 freaking refill requests for medications, and you got to go through every chart to see if they're freaking up to date on their labs and and it's great that there's all these stop gaps, but you can't hire staff to do it because this trained staff, it costs too much money I can't hire someone at $50 an hour to look at a computer to approve or disapprove refill requests. So it's just something else that stacks on the lowest, most trained person. You did good work. We punish you by giving you more work instead of rewarding you. And that's not
that's
improving.
that's like universal through healthcare, wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. If you're the world's greatest surgeon, you're never lacking for work, right? But if you're the world's worst surgeon, you're also never lacking for work.
Fair. Yeah, so kind of the whole point behind this podcast, the the traumatic elements of the job. You and I know there's so much,
Hold on,
and
Soup. Sorry. Carry on.
yeah, the trauma that we experience in the job, it comes from so many different places. Um, I know you've dealt with a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
Um, Talk to me about kind
Well,
of some of the impacts of the trauma that you've experienced.
it, uh, first of all, thank you for doing this because it is. It's very traumatic. Whether you're in the middle of a combat zone and having to deal with that, you're on a car accident, or you're called to a home where someone just had a sudden heart attack. It's 48 years old, and there's nothing you can do. I mean, there's a lot of different trauma that we deal with when we do this career, and if you don't take care of that mental health aspect of it, it literally will eat you up. Uh, and I was a very good one of being like, I can drive on. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But it was. And it wasn't once or twice. It was all of it adding and adding and adding. And you think, oh, well, I went to the debriefing and I did my part. I gave them my underwear and I walked out and everybody was happy. Uh, but you're not, and you're not really fixing it if you're not talking about it with somebody. Uh, and the whole classic, you can talk to your spouse. My spouse is in the medical profession, has been for a long time. She was emergency room trained. She was labor and delivery. She's now a nurse practitioner at the Montana State Prison. You want to talk about a lady that's seen some crazy stuff? My wife has seen some crazy stuff. But us talking to each other isn't the same as talking to a counselor, a healthcare professional. It helps talking to my spouse, but it didn't help our marriage at the time. It didn't help with alcoholism. Yeah, I'm drinking Coors Light. I'm not drinking. Drinking comes in bottles. And
I'm feeling a little judged by that, but okay, continue.
uh but uh the no sleep, the absolute I'm a fucking workaholic. I can let the most major crazy fucking things you think that should shut a human down, it will roll off my back like a, a water and duck type deal. But if Jody doesn't have the eggs put away right, I will not stop thinking about it. Like it's just that traumatic. Like if that's not straight, but something big, it's just it's not healthy. but it's just how my brain's rewired itself. And talking to, I don't feel comfortable mentioning her name, but my psychiatrist has been absolutely amazing. Um, and very helpful. Like, suicide was never an option on my table, but I was doing it without doing it, between lifestyle and if I can work myself to death, drink myself to death, not sleep, do everything, just run, nobody knows. And you outrun it till you don't. It's real fun when it catches you.
Yeah. Yeah, there you said a lot, man. And I think that's like one of those things that it's kind of like a secret in these industries that's out in the open and it's there for everybody to see, right? Nobody really's talking about it, or at least not talking about it frequently enough. You know what I mean? Like, because fire, EMS, healthcare, army, military, whatever, right? We have this culture of all these negative coping mechanisms, and we excel with our negative coping mechanisms.
Oh, man. I was a fully functioning alcoholic at one point. I mean, not it was, "Okay, I can drink until this point, and then I have to stop 'cause, so I can get up and go to work and be sober." I mean, just planning it out. It was not, "I'm gonna have a couple of beers with dinner, and I'm good for the night. I'm going to have a couple of beers while I talk with Josh, and I'm gonna be good for the night." That was not where I was at with my life, and had I not gotten that, what's wrong with my tummy call? I mean, and doing some life changes. It's not fun when your wife says some of the things that they say, you know? Like, "Look at yourself." It's it is not pleasant.
Yeah. Um, and the intent is at some point to have an episode uh talking to wives of people like us,
Yeah.
because the strain the strain that we put on our own marriages um it's brutal.
And we
And
blame them, and it's us being the assholes. I mean,
oh yeah.
I'd I my wife is amazing, man. She's beautiful, she is incredibly kind, and except for her choice in men, she's got it going on. Just like, I'm telling you, dude, she's my kids, I mean, that's you're right, you need to talk to them so that they can see the other. PTSD is absolutely a thing. It's not real fun to go around and be like, "Hey, I've got eczema on my ass crack. I got a weepy eye. I got PTSD in a week back." And like, I will tell you about my eczema asshole. I will tell you about my bad back. I'll tell you about my leaky eye, but I will not tell you that fucking a loud noise will make me physically swing at something, or if I'm driving down the road and I come around the corner and there's a box in the road, that it takes every, like, sometimes it's fine, but sometimes something triggers and you're just like, fuck, don't punch your gas. And your foot is just ready to drop on it. And you're just like, what the fuck? How did that happen? And it's just weird things, weird smells. You know how it goes. And it
Mhm.
never goes away, but at least being able to kind of talk about it now, uh, it helps, but there's certain things, man, that are just for me and God, you know?
Yeah.
It
Yeah. And it is one of those things that, I don't think there's a lot of people that are willing to open up about their PTSD. And
It's embarrassing, Josh. I mean,
yeah,
it took me a long time to get to where I can say it like this, but it's fucking embarrassing, man. Again, when you're just like, oh my God. You're like, happy
yeah,
birthday to the, why did that balloon go off?
yeah,
It's,
yeah, and especially when like you have such a an amplified, or I don't want to call it a severe reaction, but when you have such a noticeable reaction to things like that, it's very difficult to, it's like falling, and it's like you get up and you look around and you're like, who saw me? You're
and
still losing those cool points, but like, who saw me?
yeah. And then there's the point when you're falling, you're like, I kind of want to see it on video. But in your brain, you're like, you do not want to see what you look like falling on video. As a matter of fact, we'll play it back tonight when you're sleeping, right? When you're about to get to that good shit, I'll go ahead and flash that back right in front of your brain so you can't think about anything else till your alarm
Yeah.
clock tells you to get up.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me.
Yeah. And it's really strange, like existing in this space of like sometimes almost parody and stereotype, right? Like, the whole, oh, he's a veteran and he's got PTSD, like, that whole bullshit mentality that I think is so prevalent in society, right?
Yeah, or they have it so they might be a constant threat, and you need to keep your eye out. No, it's nothing fucking like that, man. And there's stuff from being on the highway. There's stuff from fucking entering homes that you see what people have done to their kids. Like every one of those just puts a little etch in that nice smooth brain I have that just. And then there's the big stuff in life that is always there. I mean, and anyone that says that they don't have trauma in their life is incredibly lucky. They're lying, but they're incredibly lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because, across like first responders and veterans, um, childhood trauma is so common in those populations. It's almost like, most of us showed up to the job pre-broken.
Excuse me. I'm not disagreeing with that, man. There's a lot of guys that we were in training with that it was heartbreaking. Some of their stories, you're like, holy shit, that your parents sent you away to military school. You've been on the street since you were, and then they'd pop their teeth out and shit. And you're like, you're 18 and you have no fucking teeth. It's just mind blowing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, my bunkmate. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. The big redheaded dude.
Yep. Um, yeah, like he is one of those guys that had been homeless before he joined, and you said the teeth thing, and that's kind of what I thought
Yeah.
about. Like,
I remember the first when he showed me that when I first got to the unit, and you're like, yeah, this is my bunk. I can't believe I can't remember his name. He's a good dude though. But and he's like,
yeah.
whoop. I was like, oh.
Well, I remember his name. I'm just not gonna say
Yeah,
it for
no,
his
no, no, no.
privacy, but
I wouldn't say it either. It's just like one of those ones that so many.
yeah. Um, but yeah, like everybody came in, with their own baggage of whatever variety, right?
Right.
So many people joined the military to escape a shit situation. And then the crap that, we often experience in the military just adds to that, right?
Well, when it's so pleasant, yes. I mean, if it would have
Pleasant.
been just the nice haircuts and sweet glasses, it would have been one thing, but it was the whole, "Hey, why don't you go on vacation over here?" Fuck. Alright.
Yeah.
All beach, no ocean.
All right. So kind of dealing with that drama and the trauma of our work. Um why
Sometimes I think you're saying drama with a D, and I think you're saying trauma with a T.
Well, just to fuck you up, I used both of them in the same sentence. So,
Ugh, trauma drama.
yeah. What were some of the traumatizing elements of the work that you did that kind of stand out for you?
Well, I will take you back to my childhood, everybody. Sit down and grab something to drink.
Grandpa
Uh,
Zane is going to tell us a story.
we're gonna spin a little yarn, if you would. Uh, so my grandparents came to live with us when I was in middle school, junior high back in the day, 7th, 8th grade year. And my grandma, my freshman year, had a very, very bad stroke, like, really jacked her up. And, um, my mom had me helping her take care of my grandma, giving her meds, feeding her, things like that. At one point, she's like, "Oh, you're gonna make a great nurse someday." I'm like, "I'm gonna be a nurse? Nurses is was not gonna be my thing." It was my grandma, and I loved her, and I was gonna do anything for her. That, when my grandma passed, might have been one of the traumas that was like, ugh. Because then all of a sudden you go from, like, helping mom take care of my dad's mom, you know, her mother-in-law, to that stressor's gone, but there was still the stress of, like, my grandpa being there, and it was just, I mean, I was way too young to have been probably dealing with some of the stuff mom was having me help her with. Not that she had, any other options. I mean, we didn't. It was, I didn't have to go plow a field with an ox, so I should just shut the fuck up and feed my grandma. It was fine. But it's there, man. I mean, seeing that stuff is not great. But like I said, she was my dad's mom, and she was always just super awesome. She was a good lady. Uh, yeah, that one sucked pretty bad.
Was
And
there
then
ever a
my
point
grandpa, huh?
was there ever a point later on where um calls would kind of like bring that old trauma up?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. You see a patient that's had a catastrophic stroke, when you go in and they're, at the time, you don't know if something's gonna work when they get to the hospital or not, but you see that paralyzation and that fear, you know? You find someone that's had a work injury to where they get something amputated. I mean, that's pretty life-changing for people. It's, you lose digits and you work at a mill, how are you gonna make money if you can't work? And that's stuff that adds to it. You roll over and there's an entire family killed because someone went the wrong way or made an illegal turn. All that stuff that makes the national news happens every day but doesn't make the national news.
Yeah.
Shootings,
Yeah.
beating, stabbing, child abuse, elder abuse. Man, you live in a town, when we were talking before, man, it's a small town, you know everybody. I did CPR on my father-in-law when I called off paternal leave because there wasn't enough people to fucking work. Going back to not people have enough people to work. That that's stuff in a small town that you do.
Yeah. Yeah, and That's
And
that
then
kind of stuff that you just can't imagine if you don't experience it.
yeah, and you join the great big world of the army and you think, well, I'll know these guys, but I won't take care of them. And then 2 days later, you're taking care of guys you know. That great big
Yeah.
world of the army is about as big as a small town.
Oh, it's terribly small.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How about your time in the army? Are you able to kind of expand on some of that?
So I had a good time in the army. I mean, my reenlistment times though open probably at the worst possible time. I mean, the last half of my deployment is when my window was open. And I was like, jog. I ain't doing that. Yeah. And get home and get freaking recalled. You're like, are you fucking serious? I'm not a movie. This, and
Oh,
that's
I
when
forgot about that.
I went down to the Springs.
Yeah. So when was it that you deployed?
Oh, 506.
Okay. Um, that was kind of prime surge, wasn't it?
That was Wiley West, man. Missoula Part 5 or whatever it was. We had the steel curtain. There was a lot of stuff going on. It was there was always the chance of something going very south.
So where were you like posted on a fob then?
Yeah. Well, RAWA,
Okay.
combat operating base.
Okay. So at the Cobb, you were, I don't know, a little more austere conditions than say.
Yeah, dude, the first fucking 6 months we were there, we were literally burning our shit every day. We came off of this great big mission. We were gone for like fucking 2 weeks, and we came back and the fucking Mexican shuttle system had shown up, and we were so excited. We're like, "We got shitters. We got shitters." While we were gone, it was Christmas. Oh my god.
that's that's great. Um, so there at the
No, not
Cobb, did you guys have a lot of combat right at your outpost there, or was it more fights you went looking for on patrol and such?
before we got there, it was there, and then then they just started lobbing at us. I mean, we had to go out and about to find. They were kicking doors by the time we got there to have facing head up fights and whatnot. So it was
Okay.
it was definitely enough stuff that you can say you saw stuff.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken,
You're
you
not
guys
your
were
job.
using like say you guys were fast roping and shit into areas, weren't you?
Everybody was doing stuff over there, man. Outside of parachutes, and then yeah, it was and yeah, it was an exciting place.
And how long was your deployment?
I was there 11 months and 4 days, and I came home torched. And when I came home torched, uh, we got our first lights coming back in, and they they held them up. They were home for one night, and then we had to turn around and put them on, and they all went back for an extension. And me and the torch party, they wouldn't put any of us back. They made us stay back and continue to wait. And like we got assigned to brigade duty stuff, but that last 4 months our guys were over there, they wouldn't let us fucking go play anymore.
Okay. So your unit as a whole was on a really long
They were on
extended
that
deployment.
15, 16 month. Yeah.
Yeah. What what were some of the more surprising things that affected you while you're deployed? Because, I assume the combat stuff, like, it shouldn't surprise anyone that that could be a huge impact. But
No, there's a lot of that stuff that, like, that's part of our job, right? Like, when that was what we were doing, that was you knew combat was as likely as, probably having an MRE, something was gonna happen, especially the unit I was assigned to. So it wasn't that big of a deal. The pure unadulterated violence people have towards each other though is yeah, it's that's a hard thing to wrap your head around. Like the IEDs and the using schools and hospitals and mentally handicapped people for stuff. Dude, it's just that stuff I will never be able to figure out that. Like adults fighting for what they're fighting for is one thing, but turning around and using things that are supposed to be improving things for children and using it in a destructive manner is really, really weird too. And loneliness. Like you're surrounded by a bunch of dudes, like some of your best friends, absolutely best friends. Uh, but it's not the same as talking to mama, you know, or
yeah,
talking to the kids or whatever.
right.
That loneliness is that's pretty hard to overcome.
Yeah, and if you were burning your own shit when you got there, um,
And the other people's too.
it's
It was we all added.
well, it's probably better that way rather than being like, having to burn your individual shit. Because
It would it would be a lot more fires when you first got there for sure.
but if you didn't have porta shitters, is it a fair assumption to think that you did not have the benefits of, like, email?
Well, we had like our comm guys were really good. It was absolutely the first day we were there that they had us using like Blaskies and e-tools,
Mhm.
trenching fucking from the talk down to the aid station because we still had to communicate back with Baghdad and everywhere, you know, all the different commo we had. We had to be able to talk to those guys that were out, or when you were out, you had to be able to talk back with them. So
Sure.
the email was all right, but like phone, it was not like now. I mean, if you sent an email, it was probably like it wasn't instant messaging by any means.
Yeah. Well, and by the time I got to Iraq in 2010, I mean, I was able to video chat with my wife, maybe not on a daily basis, but at least once a week.
Yeah, we were still buying fucking Haji phone cards and going to their fucking little uh hooches with like 16 phones in there.
Oh, okay.
Ears would get all sweaty because the AC wasn't working. So it's just so needed. I used this example last time we talked. When somebody has a broken leg, everyone's like, "Holy shit, you broke your leg. Are you okay?" Or like, "Can I get you anything?" But when your brain snaps, nobody knows, and it's still so hard to say, like, I I'm really struggling right now, or to come out and say, like, I'm hurting and I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's the super frustrating part. And when you say it, people automatically go to, "Oh, you're depressed. Oh, your anxiety's kicking up. Oh, um, you're suicidal." And it's none of that stuff. You're like, "I don't know what's wrong right now, but I just need somebody."
Yeah.
And that call for help is the one that's challenging.
Back to kind of talking about that whole, that invisible injury, right? And needing help, but not really knowing where to get it. What, how much of that did you experience while you're still in the army?
A lot. I mean, like, really, a lot. I mean, there's even the times, sitting talking to Kenny and Mike and Jamie and those guys, and you're just like, "Oh," and you look at them, and you could say anything to them, and none of them would think anything the worst of you, but you can't say anything.
Yeah,
You, like, can't look at it because you don't wanna be taken off your truck. Like, I loved my job. I loved the fact that if shit went down, I got to go play, but I don't wanna sit at the aid station. I don't wanna sit at the talk. I joined so I could be outside of the wire doing that stuff, and I
yeah,
loved it. Fuck, I loved it, but there was times that you were like, maybe I should have taken a day off or asked for, like, "Give me a break," but I at that time in my life, like, nobody was gonna go in my place. That was my job, and I didn't want I didn't want anyone to have my job
yeah,
because I was
yeah.
good at
How
it.
right? Yeah, I know you were one of the most talented medics that I encountered in the army.
Thank you, sir.
Um,
That's a big compliment. I truly appreciate that.
well, I actually remember you and I seemed to work really well as a team, and we kind of got in trouble for it a little bit when we were finishing up like our final like FTX because I remember we had to go into this room and they had like, already
The
Sims and shit, and there's like rubble on top of a mannequin, and you and I just went in there and just like started knocking shit out. And the instructor was like, you guys did a really great job. It was really weird because you didn't say shit to each other.
Yeah, I remember that distinctly, dude, and we came out and, like, 2 of them were talking, and they're like, "I mean, you guys are a go, but, like, oh, just go." We're like, "Okay," and ran down to the next fucking lane.
Yeah,
But that's the shit though, Soup. I think that's why we're still this way. Like, I don't feel like we haven't talked for fucking well, I know we talked not long ago, but I
yeah,
could go a year or 2 years without talking to you and not miss a beat the second we fucking start talking again.
yeah, yeah. And I find like that seems to be one of those unique qualities with military friends. Like,
Say that again. Something about military friends.
yeah, that's one of those unique qualities that I found with like army buddies, right? Like, you go through some shit, and 20 years later, you get together and you've got some catching up to do, but like the friendship is still there.
Yeah. I would love to see the guys that I deployed with again. I mean, to see the guys of the 414 would be fucking out. Like, it'd be crazy. And I know that they have reunions and they do that stuff the whole 172nd, but I don't like social media, man. My head's fucked up enough. I don't need to have everyone tell me else how fucked up they are. Just sit there and think about it
Yeah.
like, oh God, your cat is in a bad way. I hope it makes it.
Yeah. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what though, like I've gotten together like with smaller groups of people, and it was such a huge boost. Um like I've got a group of folks that I was stationed in Korea with, and Korea's a bit of a shit show tour regardless.
Yeah.
Um and plenty of opportunities for trauma bonding. But yeah, like some of the closest relationships I have with people are, my military friends.
Mhm. Yeah. And and it's weird, we said earlier about Like we all went and broken, and y'all kind of know you went and broken, and then you break each other. Like we're so fucking mean to each other. Well, how we talk to each other, how we pick on each other. But God help someone fucking stepping in and thinking they can join, because you weren't there with us when we did all that crazy stuff. And then the fucking, you know, I don't want to see boots on the ground anywhere anymore, period. Like it's not healthy for generations of people. Uh, the fact that my son could still go to like Afghanistan or go to a fucking cob or a fob in Iraq. And I was like, I was there fucking 20 plus years ago, and there's a chance you could go back is weird to me.
Yeah.
Him going to Fort Sill or, one of the duty stations I had would be one thing, but going to a combat station I was at just it's very strange.
Yeah. Is he still in?
Mhm. Well, he's reserved. And
Okay.
thankfully his whole job now is just drill. He's just a drill sergeant.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. He's one of those guys. I can't roll my eyes any bigger.
Dude, I remember some of the reservist drill sergeants that I had at Benning though, and like it was almost like a breath of fresh air because all the active duty guys are like jumping down your throat with both feet like constantly. And then you get the reservist who's just like on a 3-week camp out, just bebopping around like zero fucks, like whatever. Like,
They're
what's up,
brown and round.
guys?
Just I haven't had my haircut since I got this hat.
No, they were cool though, and like I don't know, you know it's got to take a lot for somebody in a reserve drill position to come in and work at you know BCT for 3 freaking weeks.
Yeah. Wasn't that one of your first duties was frickin' Medican, like basic training stuff?
Yeah, so when I got home from Korea, I went to Fort Benning right away, and third ID was ramping up for another deployment. I was really itching to go on that,
Yeah.
and my initial orders said third ID, but when I got to Benning, they changed them and they put me in like it was an instructor slot. And I showed up as an E3, like the fuck am I doing in an instructor slot? And they're like, oh, that's just what it says. You're gonna go be a range medic and PMCS ambulances, like till you're so sick of ambulances, like. But it was great because only like a year and a half had elapsed from the time I went through basic. So when I got back and start running into my drill sergeants like on ranges and stuff, like it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
and
they
they're
remember
like,
you too?
"Oh yeah, yeah. Yep." It was interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, really really strange dynamic there, but um
And what
no,
was
that
it like? Were they at when they're like, "Hey, Campbell, we're going downtown. Go change."
no, it was never like that. Not with my drill sergeants anyway, but toward the end of my time at Benning, by then I was going out to the bar with drill sergeant buddies like pretty frequently.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
once you figure out, once you're done with all that, that they're just like got stuck in a shitty job unless they volunteered like my son, because can I roll my eyes any bigger? The only way I could be more proud is if he's a fucking MP before. God
Mm,
damn.
yeah, it's
No offense to any
interesting.
MPs, by the way, or drill sergeants. Thank you, drill sergeants, very much. Terrible job, MPs. Come on.
I mean, I spent the majority of my time off duty trying to avoid the MPs.
Fucking MPs. You'd be out fishing on a fucking post pond and they'd pull up like they're the fucking goddamn game warden of the post. Like, it's pike. I'm in Alaska. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Would I be fishing here without this great haircut and boots that you guys gave me? I'm allowed.
Yeah. Did I tell you that one of my buddies from, post army life supposedly had some guys that put an MP car in a lake?
No.
Yeah, supposedly. I don't know if there's any truth to that,
Yeah.
but
Well, my platoon sergeant supposedly ran over a vehicle in Seattle and ass bombed a convertible because one of our buddies supposedly told him he didn't have balls if he didn't.
that's amazing. Different lifestyle, man.
Different time. I mean, if ring cameras were around, you would have seen a supposed thing happen.
Man, if video
No names,
cameras,
innocent, huh?
like if phone had the capability for video when I was in Korea, I don't know that I would have left there a
Yeah.
free man. There would have been too much incriminating evidence. Has the impact of all the traumas that you've experienced been on the work that you do? Because unlike me, you still persist in, direct patient care.
It's it's all I really know. And I don't want to sound like self-centered or cocky, but I'm good at it. I don't want to do it. Um, I I would much rather. I'll get to your question, but I would love to make people laugh, man. That's like the other thing I'm good at. Like you can have your leg bone sticking out, and I will find a way to at least make you crack a smile. You can be as mad as you want later, but laughter does help. Um, but what has it done for me? It's made me a lot nicer. I mean, I could always go with it. Oh, it's made me kinder, and it has made me kinder, but it's made me nicer. Like, and there's a difference. Kindness is something that everybody gets, but niceness isn't. You walk
Mm,
into the 7-Eleven, everyone's getting a hello. But when you show up at the counter, you might not get a coupon for your nicotine because you were mean to them. You didn't say hello back. There's a difference between
yeah,
and I don't know. That has been a big part of it.
I agree with what you said about the humor piece because when I was working in the ambulance, like it was always my goal. If I can like bridge the gap between me and my patient and use my terrible sense of humor to get somebody to laugh before we get to the hospital, like they feel better about their situation.
Mhm.
They have less fear and, they're just a much more pleasant patient to turn over to the hospital staff, right?
Yeah, and you're dealing with someone. No, not always. Most of the time when you're on an ambulance, you're about to deal with someone having the worst moment of their life. Sometimes not just them, it's their family members. Sometimes it doesn't matter to them, but it does to the family type deal.
Yeah.
And there's that humor aspect of it. I mean, even there's times I know when I should not make a fucking wiener joke. There's times you absolutely know that if I don't make this joke, it's not going to go well. So again, 30 years of touching people inappropriately and getting paid money for it. You figure these things out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like my time as a medic, both, army and civilian
I
world.
lost you, Soup.
Can you hear me now?
Like you're really coming in and out. It's weird.
I wonder if it's the internet connection.
It is because your picture's also getting a little foggier. It's almost like it's getting to be bedtime in the Eastern time zone and the Pornhub is going fucking crazy.
I wonder if that's what it is.
They're probably looking for two middle-aged white guys having depressing conversations. That's why it's bleeding our feet.
Is that an untapped podcast outlet? Like, dude.
The pop porch in the smoky room.
I'll have to take that into consideration.
Hey, you come up with it, I get 5% for finder fee.
Yeah, right. Podcast and foot pics, right?
There you go.
Yeah, I really attribute my time in the ambulance though to my ability to build rapport with people very quickly. And you good?
Well, no, I something you said, it was a long time ago. You'd asked something about like why I am in medicine or why I keep doing nursing or whatever. But you hit it right there. It's building rapport with people. We are good at doing that. I'm absolutely a people person. When people say, "Oh, there's going to be too many people," yeah, there's going to be a lot of people. As long as they're in front of me, it's fine. But I love people. I think people are interesting. I think I learn from them as much as they learn from me. And like the stuff you hear from people when they're in a bad way, like they'll start talking about, their grandpa was the attorney for Elvis. And you're like, he was what now? And sure as shit.
Yeah.
In this little town, this guy shows up and that's who he is. Or Jody at one point had taken care of this patient that had been in long-term forever. And it was like a chef to the stars, like New Marilyn Monroe. And who's the guy that killed himself? And he was an author, but anyway,
So
big
many.
time people. Huh?
Hemingway.
Yeah. And like all these people that you meet, and when you find them and they're in a cotton gown that has no back, they just talk to you.
There's literally nothing for them to hide at that point, right?
Yeah. And again, the other part of my job that's very important to me, and it always has been, which adds to probably the mental anxiety, is I won't tell people what you tell me. It's so important to me that you feel safe when we're having a conversation. It's not fun to come in and say, "Hey, my husband cheated on me and I think I have an STD." I can't go home and tell my wife, "Hey, your best friend has this issue going on." It's just something and that never happened. That was just a purely example. But it's like people start to have faith in you, and to leave a career where people have faith in you, especially in a small town, it's hard to do because you have that relationship.
Yeah. And how do you balance that and that love for that element of your job with the burnout and the chronic and increasing stress that comes from, working in a largely broken healthcare system? Like, that's got to
Uh,
be a really tough place to be.
it is, but like for me, releasing it, a lot of it again goes back to like I do theater, I do the stand-up stuff, I like to do comedy. I think comedy gets beat up because people make themselves sick mentally by obsessing over things that aren't really there or aren't really issues.
Now,
Uh,
you've really
that's
poured yourself into that, though. Yeah.
the auctioneer. I like the auctioneer. I pull him out
Well,
occasionally.
and I mean, just like, the theater piece and comedy, improv stuff.
Yeah, I have, because it lets my brain work differently. It's not, "Oh, your BMI is 25.8. We're not going in the right direction for the medications you're on. What the fuck are you doing? You need an Oreo slapping? No more Oreos. Come on." And you look at people and everybody, that's the other part, man. Nobody's died because they've been too healthy yet. I mean, a couple guys running, I guess, got ran over. That could count, but you know, something's going to get us. So don't live in fear, but don't fucking overdo it. The cookies, the beer, there's everything can be an issue. People obsessing over weight, too much, too little. But it all comes here. But we don't do anything for here. We do how much research to make sure that people with bad tickers keep living, and we give them fake tickers, and we do all sorts of things. We put pig valves in them. We'll put so much metal in their heart, you can literally put your stethoscope on there and it sounds like a slinky, just shink, and we'll do that. But the second someone says, fuck, I something's really bothering me, we're like, you probably need a good hug. That not why is it bothering you? What triggered something for you to have it that it literally stopped you being able to go to work, or it stopped you from being able to go do whatever you enjoy doing, or things you have to do? It's not that you need a hug. It's not that you need another fucking pill. What is that root fucking cause? Because something happened. And if you don't fix a sprained ankle, you end up with surgery. And if that doesn't work, then you end up with a fucking fusion. And if that doesn't work, you end up with a fucking infection, and then they cut your fucking leg off and you end up with bologna sandwiches. I mean, same with your fucking brain. If you don't fix it at that. And some of us, as you mentioned earlier, have things from when we were little. Unfortunately, there's physical, there's mental, there's sexual abuse that was never even looked at in my youth. And my youth, as weird as it is, wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church is still paying for its sins. There's multiple religions with that going on every day. That's not going to get better. But at some point, as adults, before we harm our next generation, to be able to stop that, go back and say, I have to address what happened to me.
Yeah.
And whether it's adult trauma from careers we've chosen, from situations we didn't ask to be put in, from historical things, it doesn't matter. If you don't go and fucking rip that Band-Aid off, or better yet, put that Band-Aid on, that raw flesh is just going to keep rubbing raw flesh on raw flesh until you're infected. Sorry, I kind of went all ranty there, but it's true, man. Trauma on trauma doesn't lead to good things.
No.
And even when you address them, it doesn't fucking mean that it goes away. But instead of having that festering sliver sticking in your hand, now you have a scar. And we can deal with scars. But until you get this freaking thing out of you, that's the problem. Scars suck, but scars can be dealt with. Festering wounds can't heal.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
And I've still got my share, man. I mean, I need to talk to my rapist.
How long have you been in therapy?
Couple years. Like when I first started, when I first started, it took forever to find the right therapist, man. And that's the other thing. Like, it's for my job, I saw some, and it actually got to the point where I was like, fuck it. Like, this is not working. And I tell people in my job, I'm a clinical director. I try to push people to doctors, but if it doesn't work, don't keep going back. It's like buying a car. You wouldn't spend $50,000 on something that you don't like. It's your health. And if you don't find what works for you, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money, and you're wasting really what you think should be there when you're talking about therapy. Um, and it took a long time to get to that right person for me. And when it clicked, and we rolled. And it was twice a week for like 3 months, 4 months. Then it was weekly. Then sometimes it was twice a week for a week, and then it was weekly, and then monthly. And it just depended. And that went on for a long time. And she helped a lot. And now it's kind of when I need dusted up, I can go get a dusting up. But sometimes when I need dusting up, it ends up being another fucking 3 months of me going twice a week for a while, a week for a while. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like physical therapy when you blow your knee up. It's never going to be the right. And sometimes that strength training is needed.
Yeah. And I think something you mentioned here, I think it's worth, bringing back up. Finding the right therapist. That is so difficult, especially from my perspective. I think it's difficult coming from the military world, where, for starters, the attitude toward mental health when you and I were in was not great in the
Healthy?
military. It was like, I remember telling my community health nurse in Korea that I wanted to quit smoking. I had zero intention of quitting, but Zyban is Wellbutrin, and I knew that I had success with that in high school to manage depression.
Yep. Yep.
So I continued smoking a pack a day, but I got my Wellbutrin prescription.
Yep.
Um, the one thing that, like, I was able to see a doctor for, that I felt comfortable talking to a doctor for, was like, I was having a hard time sleeping at various times in the army, and they're always more than happy to prescribe Ambien, which
Ambien. Zolpidem.
I'm sure Ambien's a hell of a drug.
It's something.
And like, I've heard horror stories.
It's an amnesiac.
Yeah. Well, you
I mean, people
add that to the alcohol intake, which was always high, right?
who in the military? Are you drunk right now?
Yeah, crazy, right? Like,
Weird. Yeah.
just it was all like finding those coping mechanisms that wouldn't have you singled out as somebody that is, unfit for duty, or whatever that happens to mean.
Mm-hmm.
There was no focus on, like, developing resilience and um building, processes and practices to help people manage all the stress that we take on.
I just thought of something. Like, we were assigned our battle buddies, right? That's your battle buddy. That's your battle buddy. And you stick with them through everything. But it was never the correct time for they would put that stress on guys that didn't know what the fuck they were looking for. And you're not going to go tell your battle buddy who probably going through the same shit that really fucked me up. You're not going to say that to that guy right there because, and if he does say that to you, you're like, you fucking pussy.
Yeah.
It's a terrible training mechanism without training them correctly on what we should be looking for. Like all that death by PowerPoint they send you through 10 weeks. I mean, do the physical shit for 8 and get us the fuck out of there. That's how it
Yeah.
should be done. But that death by PowerPoint, why don't we put some things in like, all right, there's going to be 3 of you and you 3 are going to talk and you 3 are going to talk and you guys are going to figure each other out. And this might become a cohesive team. that legitimately cares about each other. And if someone starts to fucking slip, they'll be like, there's a red flag. Not let's take his boots away, his belt away, make him go in chow line holding his trousers up and looking like a fool.
Yeah. And, like the whole time I was in, once a year, we had our suicide prevention training, mandatory for everybody. 8 hours of PowerPoint that, we all joked about it. Like, all this makes me want to do is kill myself.
We all
Right.
joked about it, but at the same time, Soup, there'd never been a higher rate of suicide amongst fucking veterans and active duty soldiers in fucking the history of our or the service.
Right. Do you remember
Why?
a single suicide prevention class? Like a single beneficial piece of information you took?
No, we got coffee and chow. But, I mean, really. And because we were the medics, we'd have to go fucking watch after everybody else did. So we got the fucking, they didn't even want to put it on there. Like, sit down. Tick, tick,
Yeah.
tick, 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 tick.
Yeah. And, it's wild because, like, big army's satisfied, like, well, we checked that box.
Think of how much training they made us do on putting on mock gear. And I mean full mock gear. And why? Because God help us, it fucking happens. You have to be trained on this.
Yeah.
I was in Iraq fucking less than a month, and we had a guy fucking eat a fucking round. We weren't trained for any of that.
Right. Yeah. Like, one of the biggest things that, like, is a huge negative impact. It's like unit morale, trash.
Yeah.
I want to say there's somebody that committed suicide when I was in Iraq, like in one of the porta-johns or something. Like, it, like, I don't remember the particularities from it, but like just knowing that somebody from our little fob had committed suicide was a huge hit. Like, I didn't know that person, but like everybody's like, "Oh, that's shitty." And that might have been like when we were still doing like our left seat, right seat thing, but so like that's not a great thing to roll into, right? Like, oh, so I'm going to be spending a year in a place that's driving people to kill themselves, right? Like,
Yeah.
but
Dude,
then go ahead.
and the army still does the fucking stressor of you're going to be gone for a year. Like, I mean, have they learned nothing? A year? Fuck, it's a long time, man. When you got
Yeah,
kids, when you've got fucking young marriage, when you've got all this stuff. And yeah, they didn't tell us to get married or have kids, but that's not the reality of life.
right.
And every other branch has a much more swallowable deployment schedule. The army, we're going to pack you guys up and send you out for a year. Then, by the grace of God, I got sent home and not sent back. And those other guys got stuck for fucking 18 months or 16 months. That's too fucking long to be gone.
Yeah. And it's
And
interesting
it's
because,
not World War II where we're shipping them over by boats. Yeah, you're gone. You're gone. You got
right.
fucking plane.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you make that comparison because, um, that 1 year rotation really didn't happen until, I think Vietnam is when it started.
But it's so long, Susie.
Oh, it is. But the military, saw that, World War II, uh, I can't remember if this is the right name, but I think it's SLA Marshall. I think he was like a general who was responsible. he's a historian and gathered all sorts of data on what was going on during World War II. And, you know, they deployed people and they were there in theater for the duration.
Yeah.
And then they sent replacements to, backfill all of the combat losses that occurred. And
Yeah. It wasn't rotating people out. You stayed.
yeah, and I think that SLA Marshall had something to do with like taking it down to a year. And you're right, that is a really long time. And I do think that, well, I mean, you look at like some of the folks that fall under, Special Operations Command, like they don't, as far as I know, they're not doing those long tours. Air Force certainly isn't doing those, right?
That stress it's real, man. You were there. There's thousands of us that were there and know that stress. It's the stress of being gone. There's the stress of not knowing what's happening to your children when you're so far away. There's a strep throat outbreak at the house. There is nothing you can do while your wife is sitting there literally across the world dealing with it.
Yeah. I had the benefit of not having kids at the time when I was deployed, so that, you know, made
Well,
it
and
so
again, it's just a whole different thing. You still had your parents, you still have your siblings, you still have everyone back here that is still going through life every day, and there's dangers every day. It doesn't matter if you're fucking in the desert. It's just the distance, man.
yeah,
And that's what fucking hurts. Is it's not a worst case scenario. You're a couple flight hops away from being home. You're not going home.
yeah, for sure.
Part of the
So,
job. It was like combat. Combat sucked. I mean, it did. Um,
yeah,
but it was expected part of the job where the other stuff, it's nothing new. I mean, you go back to I'm sure, caveman hitting each other upside the head with a stick. Fucking combat's combat. It makes something different happen there for everybody. Some guys can deal with it
yeah,
great. Some guys can't. Some guys just shouldn't see it.
right.
I shouldn't have
Yeah,
saw it, but I did, and I made sure I did what I was supposed to do to make sure the other guys that were I was good at my job, and
yeah,
those guys were great at their jobs, so I didn't have to do a lot of my job, but when you did, it just sucked.
yeah. So, with all of the trauma and like the cascade of effects that, kind of continue, um, at what point did you find you were at a turning point where, damn it, that's it. I have to do something.
Ooh. Soup, I don't know if there was that, like, light switch moment, to be honest. It wasn't like there was this anything, it was accumulative. I mean, it was after I had been done being the mayor, uh, it was somewhere in there. I mean, I just like, that anger was always right there, and it just kinda got to the point where it's like, "Fuck, I don't feel good," and that's where it was. Was it finally, like, the physical aspect got me too. I was done with it. Because
Yeah, I'm
it's
just
mental exhaustion makes you physically exhausted, and that's where it was, where I finally called the VA and was like, I need help," and they got that earlier conversation about who do you turn to, who's that person. The VA did at that time, that was the person, and they hooked me up with the right, uh, counselor. It wasn't an immediate thing. Like I said, I went through a couple until I found the right one.
And you were able to do that with the VA, like try a few different therapists.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned that had several therapists, and
Mhm.
one of the things that was like most encouraging to me when I was finishing up my master's to ultimately do the therapist thing is that so much of like positive outcomes in therapy are directly tied to the therapeutic alliance, the connection between the clinician and the, the patient or the client. And um, you know, that's where that piece for me from that rapport building skill that I have, because when you're on the bus, like you've got to make that bridge quickly because you are on an accelerated timeline. Like I need to gain your trust so I can get to the bottom of what's going on and help you out, right?
Yep.
And so like that's one of those things that is just so important, but it's not emphasized enough. And especially coming from the military where it's like you get your doctor. That's your doctor. It's like, you know, you've been issued one. And
Here's your boots. Here's your uniform. Here's your doctor. Here's your dentist.
yep. And so I feel like especially like in the VA system coming into that in that, you know, mindset from the military, I feel like a lot of veterans don't feel like they have that option to, you know, try other therapists. But yeah, because like I'm sure you've heard this from other veterans too that um oh, I saw a therapist and they didn't understand me, or I'm not gonna listen to somebody that's, you know, got no real world experience outside of going to school, like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, but who? The- I was very pleased with how the VA treated me when I was going through that. Very, very pleased. I was very pleased with the provider I ended up with, like I said. But if you're gonna go through school, like thinking that you're getting better stuff out of the real world is you're absolutely fucking insane. You think of all the weirdos in the fucking military and all the things those shrinks had to fucking listen to. God damn. I mean, your grocery cart might have got fucked up, but that guy just lost his wife to his best friend yesterday.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I, you know, and I personally, I have had um really good luck in the therapists that I've had through the VA. I've had great mental health care. There's a couple, you know, therapists here or there that was like, why are you in this job?
Mhm.
But by and large, they've been great. Like, you know, they when you go in there for your physical, they always ask, like, are you having thoughts of killing yourself? And, you know, that's one of those questions that I think we're programmed to just not want to answer honestly if we are, right?
Yeah.
But
Well,
like,
and
go ahead.
that's a screening question I ask with every patient that comes in. And like I just muscle memory will be ripping through those questions, answering them before I even ask them type deal. And
Yeah.
someone throws me a yes, and you're like, what? I mean, and then like, okay, that's a hard stop,
Yeah.
and I'm not trained to do it. I'm just trained to make sure that I get the documentation to make sure that the person that is trained to do it knows how to do it.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, like, so for me, when I finally like was in a position where I answered truthfully, like, yeah, this whatever I'm doing's not working, you know, they were incredible. Like, each care team has like a social worker or therapist assigned to it. And, I think they walked me over to the mental health section and got me set up with a clinician. And, that was kind of the process. Like they did this whole warm handoff thing.
Hmm.
And, that was kind of like the start for me working through all my bullshit, right? And
Right.
like getting to a place where I can talk about it, and hopefully I'm able to help people through their own bullshit, right?
Soup.
But
You picked the right profession, dude. Your heart is as big as your head, which is saying something because I've seen your head.
it is a massive head.
It is a man's head. If you would have had a small, petite lady head like mine, you'd have been fine.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but yeah, I don't know, like we already talked a little bit about like, the comedy and your theater stuff, but like what has like your road to healing looked like?
Ah, it's the classic garbage. I mean, is there a smooth road to it? I mean, you have to hit that, like, my physical health is failing because of my mental health. Uh, my thought of a good time was sitting in the very, very basement of our house drinking a six-pack of beer a night and, you know, dragging my sorry ass upstairs to sleep 4 hours and go do it again, and it's just because I couldn't shut my brain off. That phone call, the again, there's problems and then there's roots to problems, and roots to problems are way fucking more painful than the problem. And that getting to accept some stuff that happened then or there, that stuff was really hard. But the worst part, no, 5431, that's not right at all. The best part is you have to, the other side is so much better. Like that relief, I mean, I was pushing 250 of nothing but fat, and that cortisol release, that getting your that shit off of you, that it improves the relationship with your loved ones, and that was a huge part, man. I didn't give a fuck at one point. If Jody would have left, I mean, it would have sucked, but it would have been she was gone. And the thought of her leaving now is detrimental to me. I mean, it's going through that has made our relationship great again. For me, I hope she enjoys it as much as I do. With my children, it's come a long ways. Admitting to your children that I'm sorry, I have issues. It's talking to Jody with it's one thing because she knows, and your kids know. I mean, they absolutely do. But to come out to them, come out, oh, clickety click, click, click. Daddy's crazy. It's, I just that was really hard, and they're all like, "Yeah, we know. Thanks for admitting it," and that it helped on that aspect too, that they were all just waiting for me to say something, and then you just see it in their eyes, and that's pretty amazing. Uh, but it sucks, dude. It's not fun. It's not fun looking at how you treated other people because of your brain doing things that make you seem so self-centered and crazy. I mean, just the stuff that would come out of my mouth that I was like, "What am I saying?" Just trying to pick a fight, just trying to anything so you didn't have to deal with what was really in front of you was rough.
Yeah.
But as soon as you kick the rock and you realize that it's just a pebble and it's not a fucking boulder, that's a big change. "Oh, I can move it with my foot? Okay. Just don't let it get in your shoe and make you think about it. Just keep it in front of you." And it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it rolls off the road and you can just keep walking. That's how it is. And sometimes that rock's a fucking rock. You need dynamite on those ones,
Yeah.
aka Jesus.
Mm. How much has your faith played into your healing?
Faith?
Yeah.
Faith is huge, man. I think we don't have time to get off on this rant, but my faith is it's everything for me, man. People go to church on Sundays. I try to go to church every day I can. And church is outside, man. Sitting in some old building that smells like natural gas and cough drops is not fucking church. I mean,
Mm.
if God smells like mentholatum, I am really gonna be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's huge. You have to have something. I'm not telling you to be a Christian. I mean, you get it wrong if you're not, but that's cool. I'm still Southern Baptist. It's um find faith in family, find faith in community, find faith in something. And community can be the strangest things, man. It can be
Yeah.
your dog walking group. It can be a lot of different things. Doesn't have to be the find people with different ideas and learn something.
Yeah.
Don't go in with a bad attitude of fighting. Just learn something. People are smart.
Yeah.
And when you realize we all have 2 arms, 2 legs, which isn't true because we all fucking lose shit, aka mills and explosions. But we all have fucking problems. There ain't a human alive that doesn't have one. So,
Yep. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Senior drill sergeant Worcester, the top drill sergeant in AIT. I
uh-huh.
remember one day he said it was a Sunday, and everybody that needed that time to sham was lining up to get marched over to church or whatever.
Mhm.
And he said, "Look, if you don't have faith, I strongly recommend that you find some, because this job that you signed up to do as a combat medic is going to test you, and you're going to need to have some belief system to help bring balance to what you're doing." And I mean, that was legit advice.
Yeah. I mean, God and I are square, man. It's like politics. You can ask me all you want, I'll never answer. Uh, but I'd love to tell you about the mountain goat I saw. I'd love to tell you about you wanna go for a walk with me? Let's go for a fucking walk. You wanna we don't there's so many wonderful things in this world that we get hung up on all this crazy shit that you have 0 control over outside of one time in November. But it's mental health, man, on both sides. Again, I you can't you can't be mean to people and expect them to be nice to you, and that is just universal.
Yeah. The golden
Or
rule, right?
or you're married, then you can be as mean as you want and get treated that way.
Good Lord. Don't. You're terrible.
25 years she'd been on with well, in September. 25 years.
Dude, I love you, bro, but she needs an award for real.
No, I absolutely agree. Like, uh, cash and candy in the parade, maybe a boat. I don't know. I just want a boat.
Yeah. I was going to say, you wouldn't benefit at all from a boat, would you?
No, not at all. I would like it to be about a 30-footer, maybe pontoon.
Right. Oh, yeah. All right. Zane, what would you say is your best advice to someone that might be dealing with mental health struggles right now?
Uh, who you are not alone. It's so cliche, man. and it's so repetitive, but you're really you're you're not alone. And it sounds as crazy as it is, but having someone make a phone call. There's 822, there's 911, there's there's everyone. Outside of Adolf Hitler, you do not and cannot commit suicide. There's ways around it. Don't don't let this little section wreck your entire world. And it's not just your world, it's gonna be somebody else's. Whether you think you're all by yourself, when you hurt you, you're going to hurt someone else. So please don't.
Yeah. Yeah. 988 is the national suicide hotline.
I'm a nurse.
It's
I
a
don't
good,
know the number. Again, I was
yeah.
pretty impressed I got 911 correct, but it's taken me about 30 years to figure that out. I
Yeah.
quote every best friend's phone number from grade school, but I can't tell you a fucking emergency number.
That's interesting. Zane, what would you say your outlook and your hope for the future is? How are things looking for you?
I
Yeah.
dude, like very close to being done with actual nursing. I am happy with it, but it's someone else's turn to pick up that veil and run with it. I want to go do something that I'm the boss of, like me. Whether it's
Yeah.
running a store, whether it's running something, just I want to make my own hours and do my own thing and not have that stress of if I'm not there, something bad can happen. I'm at the point now, Soup, that I'm ready to be stress free.
Yeah.
Just need that lotto ticket.
You and me both, man.
If I get it, I'll split it with you. Unless it's like one of those $10 winners, then I'll just keep it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. I'll make that deal.
Fair enough.
All right, man. Well, dude, I can't thank you enough for being my guinea pig and being willing to sit down and talk about some of this stuff.
Soup, you're honest to God, one of my best friends that I haven't spent any time with. It's you think back, man, it's been a long time since we started frickin' chatting with each other.
Oh
It's
yeah.
been wonderful.
Oh yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
And
I
yeah,
keep
we
looking
definitely,
younger and younger. You guys get older and older.
that's true. You look fantastic.
I'm made of plastic.
Jeez. Well, you know what? It's working for you.
I appreciate that, buddy. Nothing a needle and a surgeon can't fix.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that concludes our first episode of the Front Seat Debrief. I hope that you have enjoyed listening to this conversation. I hope that you found benefit in it. And again, if you don't mind, please like, share, subscribe, leave us a review. It will all help further the goal of bringing attention to these mental health needs. Thanks again to my buddy Zane. I think it takes a lot of courage to be willing to just dive into something like this without a real roadmap. So thank you, Zane, and thank you all.